And you could go into this in much more detail, and this is just but one of many examples when you think about it, because although in this article it's furious Isle of Wight locals have accused the ferry companies of holding them to ransom and say they can't wait to move after being charged £440 for a return ticket to the mainland. And it's not that far away. Seriously, it's not. And it never used to be the case, and it's not just there. When you look at, for example, Scottish Island businesses closing, anger at Visit Scotland announcing all 25 information centres, including Inverness, to close. If you were to type in something like problems with Scottish ferries, cancellations, various other things, CalMac, blah, blah, blah. What I'm saying is there's a direction of travel. It's what I'm saying, yeah? So islanders say they can't afford to cross the channel due to soaring costs and unreliable services, ridiculous ferry prices, cancellations and delays, and blighting their lives, with some now wishing they had never moved to the island, who say it is making them feel completely cut off from society. Others revealed they have life-saving hospital trips delayed, or have had life-saving hospital trips delayed because there was no room on the ferry at peak times such as Cows Week and the Isle of Wight Festival. A return journey can cost as much as £440, with the ferry providers using what they quote is a flexible airline model for prices. And it goes on to give you examples of, destinations, going to the Isle of Wight, blah, blah, blah. An individual who's set up a group saying, this enough is enough. And there is some frustration. But I would repeat, there is a direction of travel with many islands around the UK. And you could say many Western nations are suffering the same. There seems to be problems when none used to be the case. And so many aspects of a more rural or island life is becoming so costly. So let's go to best rated. Thank you for that, Bella. So the ferry prices to the Isle of Wight make it the most expensive ferry trip in the world. Considering how short a distance it is, the companies are 100% taking advantage. Residents should get a very low, reasonable rate. Without residents running businesses and Airbnb services, shops, amenities, the ferry service wouldn't be needed to run as often as it does. But remember, if it's part of this bigger picture, it's all factored in. Truly, all you need to do is start looking historically at who moves into management and then where things go from there. In many instances. And by the way, if you notice an awful lot of these people where problems, when they go into management, problems start happening, they seem to get rewarded and put onto another, whatever, seemingly unrelated type of company, and they do the same thing and repeat. Seriously. It is a complex subject, but in many countries, resident islanders have preferential rates and access to ferries, as in Scandinavia. This is common practice. The UK government should enforce this on the ferry companies. We don't have that kind of government. They only support one element of society. Yeah, well. We live just outside Southampton and love going to the island, but the cost to take the car is criminal. Some days we think, wouldn't it be nice just to pop over for the day on the spur of the moment, but it's just too expensive. Some parts of the island are really run down. Yeah, going back to, seriously, start looking at Scottish Western Isles as an example. I've noticed over the last few years certain YouTube videos and all the rest and various other data, and they are like, well, what's going on? What's happening? Yeah. And I keep saying there is a direction of travel, and it ties into Agenda 21. And then, of course, when it ties into various other things, well, it's not well diverse enough. I mean, honestly, it's not just about gutting Western nations. There's nowhere to run. Even the islands, it's been discussed years ago, sometimes decades or more. I've met many occultists and they were like, yeah, well, like, really? Seriously? There's not an island that you will be able to go to that will not be affected by Agenda 21 and a belief that, well, it's not inclusive enough and diverse enough. And it is absolutely about gutting Western nations in this pursuit of communitarianism and collectivism on a global basis under the guise of global citizenship, and we're all in this, and it's Gaia, Mother Earth. Honestly, it's there in plain sight. The apathy of the many, seriously. And believe me, there is a lot of solutions, is to embrace what is being targeted and destroyed. And I'll speak to you soon.